Welcome back to Talk of the Town on WHTC, Holland's Cool FM, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone. Once again, here's your host, Gary Stevens.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Monday, August the 3rd. First Monday of the month. This time we talk Veterans Affairs with our friends from the Holland VFW Post 2144, the Henry Walters Post here in Holland. Former Post Commander Mike Martin on the other side of our table this morning. Mike, good morning. Welcome back, sir.
Good morning. Nice to be back.
If you have a question for Commander Martin, 616-395-1450. Yeah, he might be retired, but, somebody who was a U.S. Senator, we always call him Senator afterward. Even the president, no longer a president, we call him president. Mm-hmm. So why don't we call him Commander Martin? Mike, good morning again.
Nice to be here.
Let's first of all, let's get the important things out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Food at the VFW Post. We got some good food coming up.
Yeah, we do. We have our fish fry every Friday night, and then we have one other non-fish dish to go along with it. This week it's steak dinner. The 14th, it's the Marine Corps League's famous meatloaf. The 21st is ribs, and the 28th is one of my favorites, loaded baked potatoes.
Does the grill get fired up for some of these?
Oh, yeah.
Steaks on the grill.
Yeah.
I'm under orders. I got to grill some steaks myself this week. We got some nice juicy T-bones from Costco, so I got work to do, and I'm looking forward to that as well. And of course, a lot of other fun food at the VFW, and to a certain extent, not only is it open to the public for the most part, it's a good fundraiser to help offset the cost of maintaining the Post, but also to a certain extent, it helps feed. I want to say helps feed the needy in the area, because many of the needy are veterans, and sometimes they need a place to go eat, a place to basically have fellowship.
Correct. That's correct. Like Thursday night's our burger night, and it's very affordable. And we get a lot of people that it's almost like a date night for them because they can afford it, But anybody that comes in there, I mean, we're gonna feed them somehow. Somebody's gonna step up. I have never heard of anybody being turned away. So,
and the other good thing about it, and this was something that we had discussed when, 6 years ago when we went through the COVID situation, where people, the only way you could get the food was as a takeout, and the food was prepared and waiting for you, and you just pick it up and away you go. As many people hit to the parks and the beaches, especially on a Friday night, stop at the VFW, get a nice meal, and have it bagged up and take it to where you're going to go.
Correct. Yeah, we often say the pandemic was a bad thing, but it kind of put us on the map, because a lot of people came and got our fish fry because we were the only ones running. And then afterwards, they came in, and a lot of them, I don't know how many times I heard, I've been driving by this place for years. I never knew all this was in here, So it really kind of helped us out.
And, of course, the VFW Post Kitty Corner to the Civic Center on 8th and Maple in downtown Holland. And a good place to get some good food and other good things as well, as the VFW Post certainly does have. A very serious topic. We discussed this, Mike, a few months ago in advance of the Memorial Day commemoration, not only at Pilgrim Home Cemetery, but also the parade. A lot of the focus this year was addressing veterans' suicide rate, and still the high numbers. Well, any number is high numbers, but
right.
The number of veterans who are taking their lives on an average per day. And there are efforts to try to deal with this issue. I'm not going to ask you what progress hasn't been made, but I'd like to revisit this because it's one thing to talk about it on Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to bring it up on August 3rd
Right.
afterward, because like a lot of things during the holiday, we think about the needy in the holidays, but then we got to think about the needy a couple of months down the road too, just as much. So I'm bringing it up now.
It's an everyday issue. I mean, the VFW and as well as the other veterans organizations are very involved in trying to prevent the suicides of veterans. One of the things we have to fight against is that tough guy image, and that goes for the female veterans. You come out and you're a tough person, and they find it hard to reach out and talk to people. One of the things that the VFW offers, and as well as other organizations, is that in there, when you talk to somebody and they say, "I know how you feel," they know how you feel. We speak. Nothing against somebody that didn't serve, but we often say the only person that understands a veteran is another veteran. That's been through the same process and the same trials and tribulations, so to speak. So we're very involved in it. It's an everyday thing. We have training that we give that helps people be aware of little signs and signals that somebody might be thinking about taking their life, and try to be aware of it and how to confront them about it without making it a bad situation. So we're very actively involved.
Addressing it in terms of somebody in a dark place right now is one thing. Do you know about efforts to try to spot this before it happens?
Right. Yeah, we do have training that goes on. We have a saying: "I'd rather talk to you at 4:00 in the morning than talk at your funeral." So, I myself, I've had phone calls 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes from the veteran, sometimes from the veteran's spouse. Can I send them to you? And my wife works nights, and she's not surprised when she comes home and I'm sitting in the living room talking to somebody. So, and I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us like that. There are available that will talk. You call me at 4 in the morning. I'll put the coffee pot on. We'll figure this out.
Now, is this a situation? I'm not going to ask you names and stuff like that. I'm just going to go in a sort of a general thing. One would imagine that perhaps many of the veterans who are in this dark place maybe are ones who have just been discharged, relatively back in civilian life in a shorter period of time. Is that a misconception? Because this could strike even somebody 30 years or even 40 years away from being in combat situations.
It can be right away. It can be down the line. Being discharged from the military is you look at it as a good thing sometimes, but it's actually a traumatic experience because all of a sudden you have no framework. When you're in the military, you have discipline, you have rules, and you're going to eat here and you're going to eat at this time. You're going to be here, and then all of a sudden you don't have anything, and most of all, you don't have your buddies. All of a sudden you're on your own. But even 20, 30 years down the road, it can surface. It's a rough way to go. And when you're isolating yourself, thoughts in your head can get pretty crazy. I remember in the mid '80s when things were really going bad for me, and I remember having the thought that if I would just die, this pain would go away. Thank God I didn't proceed with it, and I never moved forward with it. But those kind of things can prey on you.
Yeah, I'm just thinking along a similar line of those who have taken their own lives. We talk about the professional athletes, be it in gridiron football. We're seeing it, in association football, soccer as well. Hockey is another one where the contact and the head injuries have had a factor in that. And in some cases, they've done diagnosis of athletes after they have passed and they have had the CTE issue as well.
Right.
That I would assume, and I'm making the wrong assumption, that the military has that type of situation as well because of all of the shock that does happen with shrapnel and all that.
Yeah, and I come from the generation like when we were in boot camp and we had pugil stick training, and even though you wore helmets, you took some pretty sharp blows to the head. And as we say, you got your bell rung, and the drill instructor would just tell you to go there and walk it off. That's how they did it back then. You did the same thing in sports and everything, walk it off. But, it never personally happened to me, but I know of guys that were near an explosion, and they flew 10, 12 feet away and landed, didn't have any apparent injuries, but may have hit their head, and you're not aware of it. And then down the road, it starts manifesting itself, and it can be a long-term thing.
Especially if it's like if you got blown by an impact of a landmine, or what is the term? Improvised explosive device.
IED,
but and you don't have time to recover right away because you got to keep moving because you're in a vulnerable spot.
Correct.
And then by the time you have a chance to catch your breath, it might be several hours down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And you might physically be able to catch your breath. Mentally, though, you're still alert because you never know if the enemy is still around.
Right. And again, you come back also to the tough guy situation. I'm all right. I'm fine. But you're not. You just don't realize you're not fine yet. So.
What is being done? I want to say locally, but what is being done to address this issue?
We have a lot of stuff going on, different training and stuff coming up in September. September 12th, actually, at Collin Park, we're going to have what's called the Blue Teardrop 5K Walk to raise money for veterans in need. The money raised is used exclusively in Ottawa County. It doesn't go to some big organization. It's $25 registration, and you get a T-shirt, and you have a brunch after the walk and all that. They also have business sponsorships available. If they're interested, they can contact the VFW Post. As for Jill Cooper, she's president of the auxiliary, or they can go on the website, and there's information on there. It's an annual event, and like I said, all the money is used here in Ottawa County. So.
Yeah. And part of, obviously you mentioned about that effort. Another thing that I think would help, although it's more general, is the stand down that's coming up on the 28th.
Stand downs are wonderful things. Veterans can, in one place, reach out to so many different things, psychological help, finding work. Just what the things they need. They make sure there's plenty of experts there to help them with all the things, housing, food, everything is there. Quite often at a stand down, they can even get a haircut, get cleaned up. And that's a big deal, sometimes. But it's a great thing because they bring all these resources into one place.
The stand down, by the way, I do have it up on the webpage here. August 28th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And this year it's going to be at the Pinnacle Center over in Hudsonville, a little bit more centrally located for the entire county.
Exactly.
Because in the past it was at the hearing of Holland Civic Center place. Great around here.
Yeah.
But the needs of the veterans, they're not all here.
Yeah, and they can also reach out to any one of the veterans organizations, and they'll help them steer them to even outside of the stand down there, help them access what they need.
Yeah. And of course, again, the 28th is the stand down, and we're looking forward to that as well. It's a Friday, so a good way to, it's not Labor Day weekend, it's the weekend before Labor Day.
Right.
Is part of what the issues, and we've been talking about this with Mike Martin with the Holland VFW Post, part of the issues that we've discussed have been addressing suicide rates, the depression, being in a very dark place. Do you find, and I say you being veterans groups, do you find that maybe veterans who are scuffling in life, not taking the final drastic decision, but they're having problems keeping a job, they're having problems keeping a house, they're just having problems managing life, and we see sometimes those standing on a corner, veteran, need help.
Correct.
Or, can you help? No, they're panhandlers. And maybe they were veterans. That's an offshoot of maybe what we're seeing, even a more drastic measure.
Yeah, and they do what they have to do to survive, but they're not aware sometimes of the what's available to them. Sometimes they are, but they're just not. They're distrustful of the government and of the systems. I know as a Vietnam veteran, many of us stayed away from the VA because it was a government organization, and we didn't start going to the VA till we got older and started needing more medical help. But there was that's the government. They already screwed me once. I'm not going to give them another chance, kind of thing. So and some of them, unfortunately, just prefer that way. Leave me alone. Let me live the way I want to live. I know a couple like that. They're just, Mike, I'm happy. Leave me alone.
It's almost as if, it's complete opposite. They had their life so regimented in the military that, now, they don't have to be regimented anymore. Leave me alone.
I had one tell me, said, Mike, quit trying to save me. When I decide I want to be saved, I'll let you know. And you have to honor that request. Yeah,
honor that as well. 616-395-1450. Have time for a call if you wish to chat with Mike Martin from the Holland area. Not only Holland VFW Post 2144, but also the Holland Area Veterans Council as well. How are we doing right now? I know that this is Doc's baby over on the north side, the Veterans Park over in Park Township, but I would assume things are moving well in terms of adding on to what has been going on up there.
Yeah, the Veterans Park will always be an ongoing project. It'll always be what we call a WIP, work in progress. It's going to evolve over the years, so. And along with that, and with maintenance, of course, fundraising is constant. We got it built. Now we got to take care of it. And we've got a pretty good core of veterans here who are really dedicated to making that park shine. And Park Township's been fantastic working with us, helped us a lot. And so we're very proud of it out there.
Yeah. Holland Area Veterans Council, Google it. You'll be able to get more information on the Veterans Park and how you can contribute to not only keep it going, but also to augment it, to put some, new things as well. Because I know that while the foundation is there, there's so much more you guys can do.
Yeah, we still have bricks or the brass plaques and the bricks available. And periodically when we put in new plaques and so forth, we'll have a dedication ceremony for those plaques, so we're always aware of what's going on there. A lot of us just go out there sometimes, so we always said it wasn't going to be a memorial. It was going to be a living, breathing thing, representing past, present, and future veterans, that the ones that have already served, the ones that are serving, and hopefully motivate somebody to serve.
Yeah. Trying to address that. Yes, I know maybe it's something that the recruiters need to do. That's, after all, they're getting paid to try to recruit those in the high schools and into colleges to join the military, be all you can be, and all that other stuff. But veterans can, especially those who have a good sense of what they were can be able to help in that regard, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, it's a great place. It's a quiet place. There's something about it. I know, I've been to the Vietnam Wall in Washington D.C. like 3 times now, and it's always an emotional experience. But one of the things you notice is all this is going on around you, but when you're at the memorial, it's quiet. People are just kind of like, and they don't know what to say. When you see all those names on the wall, it's really brings it home. Well, the Veterans Park, is similar in that they can go in and they can look up names and look up their own name. I know. The first thing I did was go look at my own plaque, but that's solid, concrete evidence that's going to be here long after we're gone. That we served.
Respect for the flag, respect for those who fought. Unfortunately, some did not come home. Others didn't come home whole. And and then others, the dog tags still are there. And
I was at an event up in Alpena this past weekend on behalf of the VFW, and I seen a T-shirt that said, I served in Vietnam, and then down below it said, sometimes I'm still there.
Yeah. And the other point I'm going to make, Mike, and then we'll button things up, is the fact that even though we are getting further and further away from those who had served boots on the ground, we still, we have people, veterans from Afghanistan, the Desert Storm, Desert Shield, but we're getting to the point now where there were those who didn't come home, and they don't know, the loved ones back home, what happened? Did our dad die? Did our brother die? And the MIAs and the POWs, there's still some mysteries there.
Yeah, the VFW is still very involved in the POW MIA issue. Periodically, they do bring somebody home, and we're always, I know, around the country, we always make sure that they're received with honor and buried. It's a long process, the DNA testing and everything, but we're still very involved in that. They're still digging in Vietnam.
I hope we get some closure. Just as I hope we have some closure in Korea too. But that's to me, for you served in Vietnam. My dad served in Korea. So
right, my father did too. Yeah.
That's our conflicts there. If you need more information about the Holland VFW Post, you can call the Post at 616-392-2144, 616-392-2144, or go to VFW21444.org, VFW21444.org. Mike Martin, as always, thank you very much. Wish you and everybody at the VFW well. No show on Labor Day. We'll take the month off, and hopefully we'll take care of things in the month of October. Thank you, sir.
That sounds good. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Talk of the Town on WHTC, Holland's Cool FM, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone.
I want to thank State House Representative Luke Merriman and Mike Martin from the Holland VFW Post for joining us today on Talk of the Town. The segments have been or will be uploaded to our webpage at WHTC.com in the podcast tab under Talk of the Town. You can listen or download at your convenience for free. Thanks to Brian Spencer, What's New Around Holland. Thanks to all of you for listening today on Talk of the Town. Tomorrow, we'll be joined by Zeeland Mayor Rick Van Dorp and by Matt Nyans, the manager of West Michigan Regional Airport. Following NBC News with Michael Kastner, it will be Lindsay Lawrence's Evergreen Commons Report. For Brian Spencer, I'm Gary Stevens. Thanks for listening to Talk of the Town. Hope you have a good rest of your Monday, and we hope to have you join us again tomorrow.